Greetings to everyone and all present here. My name is Suashwin, and I'm a student of Christ University, Delhi NCR, and I'm currently pursuing my fifth semester. I am also one of the leaders of the activity centers from the Center for Social Action, and we have with us today Aarushi Vishnoi. We are currently amidst the Pride Month celebrations, and Aarushi Vishnoi here associates with the community and is a very to put it in simpler terms, she is a part of the movement and she actively participates in bringing about change. So, Arushi, over to you.
Okay, hello everybody. As Ashwin mentioned, I am Aarushi, and I have basically so I'm not fully out of the closet yet, but I am pansexual and also lie somewhere on the aromantic scale. These terms might be a little confusing right now, but I think in the course of this interview, we'll figure out what they mean.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's not exactly of an interview. It's more about what all you have to say about the community and
yeah.
how you and I as citizens of the country can help other people belong to where they actually should. So, Arushi, to begin with, what exactly does the LGBTQ community mean to you, and how do you associate with it on a scale of 1 to 10%?
Okay. Well, I would say I am about an 8 on that scale because I've just recently started participating more in their activities because I recently came out to myself, at least. So the community has been a very open space, especially my other friends who belong to the same community have made it a very safe place where I can talk about my sexuality, especially being in a home where it's not very accepted. So it has played a major role in being my support system. Uh, yeah,
Okay,
and
so
like I
yes,
said,
please go
8
on.
on 10.
Okay, so Arushi, you mentioned that you're not completely out of the closet yet. So, how exactly are you handling yourself? Because as you mentioned that you recently came out to yourself. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been an easy journey, especially with your instant family not being on board with the decision, is what you feel. So have you faced any struggles over the recent past about this? And if yes, could you highlight on a few of your struggles so that we can set an example for others?
Yes, so I think one of my earliest examples, like of my past that I can give, was me in seventh grade when I had told my mom that I was bi-curious. I think a lot of us face this question as we're
True.
growing up. And her very standard response was, "It's just a phase." And I actually believed her for like 5 years until like I was like, okay, no, not true. But and then I think my other challenge is that I'd once like shown like talked about somebody else to my dad, and I was like, this person belongs to the community. How do you feel about that?
Hmm.
And he was um, I don't really like I can't really ask the person not to be that way, but I would not like to be around them. So that has been a bit of a struggle because it's kind of scary, living in a house where it's like you can't be yourself just because your family might push you away or like kick you out for being who you are.
Okay.
So yeah.
So, Arushi, the next question is, it's kind of tricky if you think about it. So, we all know that the LGBTQ community flag, has been subject to variation over the years, which is
Mhm.
symbolic for evolution of human self. One can speak of it from that angle because it depicts how far along we as humans come in terms of acceptance. And the
Mhm.
different colors on the flag are symbolic for different values.
Mhm.
What, apart from the values that are already mentioned, according to the textbook, but apart from that, what are some other values, that you feel empathically related, uh, people belonging to the community share or get to the platter apart from straight people?
Definitely first thing goes is again a safe space, right? uh, like the text might say, yes, it is a community which is inclusive of all kinds of people of color, intersex people, trans people, and the other umbrella terms in the community. Um, but also, it has become a huge place where people can just go share their thoughts, emotions, and with like-minded people, like people who have faced similar situations and can help guide you through it as well. A lot of people from the LGBTQ community who want to come out to their family or friends around them have often asked, how do I do that? Because uh, they're really confused as to what people would react, or because of how scary the world is and how much slander there is around them. And yeah, the community has been a very open space to talk about these sort of questions that a lot of, you know, adolescents and teenagers get. So
I can actually relate to that honestly because I do not identify myself as a part of the community, but one community that I do identify myself as a part of is humanity. So I have myself been in situations where there have been see so I have multiple friends. I have a plethora of friends who belong to the community, and one thing that I've actually sincerely noticed among them is they make sure that they hear you out first. See, so hearing and listening actually, when it comes to our generation, people like you and me, it is a lost art. But they actually hear you out, understand, even if they can't, they at least make an effort to think from your perspective. So, that way I actually think, you guys are really gifted because I mean, make it a safe space for everybody belonging to your community, but, you're spreading it amongst all of you and apart as well. So, Arushi also mentioned that there are many other umbrella terms. So, I mean, you and I know, but for all the viewers, who are viewing this, could you please emphasize on what LGBTQ stands for, and what are the various umbrella terms, and what are the multiple terms that may come under the umbrella, so to speak?
okay, so getting down to the basics, which is LGBTQIA plus, which is the most widely used term as of now. So the L stands for lesbians, which are AFABs. Okay, so I'll write that word down first. Um, okay, so an AFAB, which is assigned female at birth, is a person who's born with like a vagina or a uterus.
The female
And
reproductive organs and the male reproductive organs. Yeah.
yes, and AMAB is a person assigned male at birth. So a lesbian is basically women loving women, or like AFABs loving AFABs. Gay is a term widely used, and also a specific term for um, AMAMs loving AMAMs, or men loving men. Um, Bisexual is a person who feels any sort of attraction, be it sexual or
Romantic.
romantic, yeah, towards both the genders or multiple, two or more genders, basically. Um, Transgender is somebody who does not assign themselves with um, their cisgender, which is the gender they were assigned with at birth, and want to like transgender into another gender.
Okay.
Um, Q is for queer or questioning, which is for people who are not sure of what label do they put. So they can use the questioning term, or they can use a queer term, which is a more broad term, if they do not wish to label with any of the specific other terms.
Mm-hmm.
I is intersex. So intersex are basically people who are born with like DNA mutations of some sort, which help them have both female and male biological like characteristics in the body, be it reproductive organs, be it hormones, anything. A stands for aromantic or asexual.
Mm-hmm.
So both of these are again umbrella terms. Like if the viewers do not know, there are mainly like 2 to 3 types of attractions. One is platonic, which is what you feel with your friends. The other one is sexual, and the third one is romantic. So aromantic is a person's like a person who does not feel as romantically attracted towards any gender, um, or a specific gender. It can be either. Asexual is a person who does not feel sexually attracted, or maybe does not enjoy sexual activities as much.
That was
So
very
yeah,
enlightening. I do hope, that people do take this to heart, because to be very honest, you actually clarified multiple concepts that even I did not know at this point of time. But then again, there are many people out there like me who make an effort, but then again, they don't have the right guidance. So hopefully this does our bit towards it. um you know
one
uh,
second.
yes.
The plus is for all the communities which are not mentioned in the acronym,
Okay,
like
wow.
all the smaller communities.
So what
Like,
you're telling me is that the community that we are talking about right now, on the occasion of Pride Month. So you're telling me that it is inclusive of every gender, on every possible gender in existence on the planet, and makes
gender
it a
and
wholesome
sexuality.
yeah, and makes it a wholesome environment for everybody to interact with. And
Mhm,
like you said, a safe, a safe, rather than a safe place, a safe haven, if I may say so, because it makes everybody feel included. Okay,
mhm.
so that is actually very heartwarming to hear. So my next question, Arushi, is to for the lack of a better term, in very simple layman terms, we often see, on social media, Instagram to be particular, a gender tag, he, her, she, you know yeah, that kind of
Yes.
description, and then we also have they and them. So what exactly is that about? Because I noticed in the recent past that even if it is somebody who does not have knowledge of the subject, they are they are assuming it to be an ongoing trend, and they just have it up on their profiles.
Okay, yes. So first of all, these are pronouns.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of us use, like, most of us use pronouns. Some people prefer not to use any pronouns. I'll talk about that in some
If
time.
quick question, so
If
the people who prefer to be called they or them, what do they identify themselves as?
Okay, uh, can I get to that in like a minute?
Sure.
So first of all, she, her, he, him, they, them, and then these are all pronouns. You must have used them in your daily sentences, like, oh, Ashwin is on a video chat. He is wearing a blue shirt. So he, that's like a pronoun that you used for you, like I
Okay.
used for you, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, they, them. First of all, number one rule, pronouns are not a
There's
sign of somebody's gender.
Mhm.
So just because somebody uses she, her, or he, him, you cannot assume that person's gender until and unless they make it clear what it is. Supposingly, sometimes I use they, them pronouns, but um, I am still a cisgendered woman. Okay, so also there's something called neopronouns, and the usage of those pronouns with they, them. A lot of people think that, it's been forced into vocabulary, whereas it has been there for a really long time, but also like all words are made up and technically language is a made up thing.
Very true.
So, I mean, it's not really hard to respect somebody's pronouns if it makes them feel more comfortable and it makes them feel more like themselves. It's not hard to respect them in that arena. Um, the third argument that people have is, oh, you can't use they, them for one person.
Hmm.
But supposingly, you're walking down the street and you see somebody's wallet like lying around. You do not know who the person is. So you go, oh, who's somebody lost their wallet. So you use
Right.
their for a singular person. Right. So it's just that. So it's following the rules of English as well, if that's your argument. But
Okay.
yeah,
So, Arushi, my next question is, so, you know, I'm not saying that everybody has a very smooth journey, especially considering that, in a country like India, there is still a lot of stigma when it's pertained to the situation of acceptance, right? So, everybody somewhere down the line, faces their own share of struggles, when they come out of the closet, when they okay, so a very funny question. Why do they call it coming out of the closet?
honestly, I have no idea because I think people just hide stuff in their closet. Like, I have no idea. But also, a huge question out of this rises is that why is like imagine there being so much stigma around it that there's a need for you to come out. Like, why do you
Should be
automatically
generalized. It should
assume?
be generalized, right?
Yeah, like the heteronormativity. Okay, for the people watching, heteronormativity is the normalization of heterosexual couples and heterosexual love. The heteronormativity is so large, yeah, still, like it's still so prevalent that people feel the need to come out, and that's actually very anxiety causing, and like it causes a lot of mental health issues, especially in adolescence, with
That
like the
brings me to
fear.
my next question. So, mental health, especially amongst people in their prime, is a
Mhm.
major cause for concern. Is because the main factors of the lifestyle that uh, we take upon ourselves to consider, and the daily scenarios that we put ourselves in, our jam-packed schedules, whatnot. So, mental health, a balanced diet, proper rest is are very influential factors here. Do you think that these said factors also play a role in spreading more awareness in link with the community? Do you feel so?
Definitely. So actually, there's a huge rise, or rather, there's a huge chunk of the LGBTQ community has mental health issues, and this is primarily because of the struggles that they've faced. Um, but to battle this, of course, there are queer affirmative therapists who have helped normalize and helped, children all around be comfortable with themselves or find a place where they can, finally learn how to be themselves, or um, just realize that it's okay to, you know, not be not be following the rat race of heteronormativity.
If I didn't know better, I'd say this is very similar to what people also refer to as change starts at home, isn't it? Right.
Yes, definitely.
So, Arushi, as a part of the community, have you ever done anything, or have you gone out of your way for people to be more accepting of themselves or spread awareness about the community, and what are the harmful measures that people could take if they are not accepted or if they do not feel included in the community, or inside or outside, and what are the advantages of spreading awareness, and if yes, what are the steps that you have taken on a personal and on a social level?
Okay. Uh, First things first. Yes, I have participated. I recently did an internship with this organization as part of my project,
Okay.
and they separately had a social media team for Pride Month,
Mm-hmm.
where I was like, we were having to take initiative on what posts we want to do, working with the team to create these different posts, to help create awareness, to help. Um, and I also conducted like pride sessions in the place that I was working in. Um, Secondly, what I'm doing with it personally, like at my home, I have started like getting my mother to read about the community. And she has become much more open-minded than what she was, which I can proudly say. So
That is a
um,
is a small victories that
it's
eventually.
a small victory. Yes. Um, yeah, and for people, first, I would like to like just give some advice for people who are scared to or have no idea how to come out to people. I would say test your waters. It's a sad reality that we have to do this, but maybe try talking to the people around you about it. Ask a friend what they think about the community. Ask your parents how would they react if the person near them was from the community. Um, Try to see their reactions, um, and like gauge what to do after that. Um, and for your other question about not being accepted by the community, so not gonna say that there is no toxicity in the community. We are, after all, people, and sometimes people are petty. But try to find your own little group. Um, there will for sure like 100% be people who will support you, who
Yourself.
will guide you, who will guide you. There are a lot of internet sources available to help give you like to raise awareness, to just help you understand how many more options you have around you. And also try, if you can, reaching out to queer affirmative therapists, or um, finding an online community, maybe on Discord or Instagram, where you can talk about these issues. So yeah.
Right. Um, so this is, everything that we are speaking about. This is a very sensitive issue, right? Because
Mhm.
there are still many people out there who may still get affected, or affected in a positive way, or also be devastated if conveyed in a negative sense. So ultimately, somewhere down the line, it comes down to the medium of presentation, how you're conveying the message, right?
Mhm.
So they might get offended or devastated, like I said, and rightly so, because this is something that is not a well researched or a well established ground or a topic, because this constantly seeks for a lot of guidance, and rightly so, because this is something where we have a lot of limited knowledge. So what would your advice be to the people out there who have no sources? Because it is very important for anything that we do, anything new that we undertake, to make clear between validated and unvalidated sources. Because it is important that the medium of exchange where we get our information from is, at the end of the day, it is safe, at the very least. So what would you prefer, or what would you advise to the viewers for their medium of exchange or their medium of getting information conveyed be?
Okay, I would say like try looking at verified websites or websites which are you know inclusive, and make sure you don't feel attacked by any source, whether it be the internet or the people you talk to. Make sure they hear you out, um, try to understand you, and try to help guide you in the right way. Same, like it's similar to finding a therapist or a counselor. If they start gaslighting you, you're just like, no, not for me. So similarly, the internet is also a service, right? If it does not feel right, it's probably not. Find
Go
more
with your gut
sources.
instinct.
Go with your gut instincts. Find more sources and just try to be yourself, because that's the best version of you.
That is very cute and informative, Arushi. So, no, that kind of brings me to the end of the session. So, is there anything else that you would like to impart to the audience? Any last words, uh, any piece of juicy content that they can really implement in their lives or something?
Okay, like try not to be part of the cycle which increases the stereotypes and misconceptions that surround the community. Um, Try to stand up for your friends if they ask you to. Um, of course, try to make them stand up for themselves. But if you see that they really need your help, or if they ask you for your help, please try to help them out. Um, Bigotry is not cool. Um, you're the first step to change. So yes.
Even here at CSA, we do something very similar, if not the same. We here are also all about bringing about a change and taking initiatives and, baby steps as it may be, but, at least taking few steps towards change, because, we may not exactly be the long runners, but we would definitely like to be uh, a beginning to probably a
Mhm.
new era of empowerment, because empowerment is key to the future. We used to say that the youth is the key to everything, but the youth has got to take their own choices. I said they, so the youth has got to take their own choices. They either choose to be good, they choose to be bad. It is a free country here after all, so you take your own choices. All we can do is guide them, and that being said, I really hope that Arushi and I were able to, guide you a little bit. This was a very brief, introductive, interactive session on what the LGBT community is and what it stands for. With that, Arushi, we would like to take your leave. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, and this was extremely informative, and we really look forward to having you back on the board again. Thank you
Thank
and
you
have a
so
great
much for
day.
having me.